Got to start with the NBA playoffs. We got to start with crazy, crazy weekend. Uh, First, early last week, Boston knocks off Cleveland. Uh, First team to make the conference finals. I don't really have much to add. I mean, Boston was just far and away the better team. Cleveland, they win the one game. Similar to the Heat, they just win the one game and the gentleman's sweep for Boston. So they've been sitting for a while in the Eastern Conference Finals. They do play tonight, 8 p.m. Gonna be must see TV for sure. But I don't really have much. Cleveland is in kind of a weird spot. You don't know if Spider is gonna come back, if Donovan Mitchell. I don't know why people call him Spider or Spida. I don't even know why I just called him that. Donovan Mitchell, uh, I don't know if he's long for Cleveland, which it really sucks because it's like, well, what are they supposed to do at this point then, I guess? Like it just he's obviously kind of the front runner, right? He was the leader of that team, he's the best player on the team. And to have him leave, you can't expect the team to grow from there. I guess I don't know. It's kind of an awkward spot. I mean, I guess if you're Cleveland, well, hey, first playoff series, you got to the second round for the first time since before LeBron played. So good job. Like you managed to knock that monkey off your back. Maybe you can start being a serious franchise at this point. I say that as if like they've had far more recent success than my team. So not as though I'm throwing stones in a glass house here. But Cleveland, unfortunate for them, but they ran into that freight train that was Boston. And Boston, I mean, they're going into this series against the Pacers. They've got to be the favorites. Indiana, and they're a young team, but they're not playing like a young team. They're playing like a team that's a team of destiny. I don't know how else to put it. The Pacers in Game 7, in one of the great joys of my life as a basketball fan, they go into Madison Square Garden and they poop right on that center logo, right on that big orange Nick. Ben Stiller was watching, John McEnroe was watching, John Stewart was watching. Everybody was there. Stephen A. Smith was there. And this was what Stephen A. was just.
I'm so sick of these people. Oh!
Thank you, Stephen A. Thank you. That was basically his experience at the Knicks game. I like this Knicks team. I do. I like Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle did not play. I don't know if that says anything about him, but he got hurt. That was the thing. There's too many injuries. When you're basically running out Alec Burks, shout out Pistons legend Alec Burks, it's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. And I guess the solace that Knicks fans can take is that, well, if you come back next year and you're healthy, you might not be, losing in 7 and getting blown out in your own house. I'm trying to put myself in the perspective of a Knicks fan. If I was a Knicks fan and my team did that in Game 7, my instinct would be, I don't care how many injuries you had. That is pathetic. You have to show up at home, Game 7. Chance to go to the conference finals. Haven't done it in, a decade, over a decade. More like probably since the 90s, right? Like long time. The Knicks haven't been very good, if you haven't noticed. But you still got Brunson, still got Randall. You got Hart. I think Hart's coming back. Oh, he might be a free agent. I mean, like you have pieces, and you have some people are going to want to come play for you, I guess. Now, as far as Coach Tibbs, yeah, I don't know. It seems like it's weird. Like he's obviously successful with the Knicks, but everybody seems to hate this guy. And again, maybe I'm out of the loop. Not a New York sports fan, not in the New York media, but I would take Coach Tibbs over Monty Williams. I don't like as far as like what he has done successfully. As far as having a successful winning team. Not that again, I guess Monty Williams had winning teams before he got to Detroit, but I think there's a lot of bright for the Knicks in their future. I don't think that it's all going to be doom and gloom. I don't think that it was this year or bust for them. Uh, I think they got a bright future. I think Brunson is that guy. I mean, obviously, heartbreaking. He goes down in Game 7. Like, it's one of those things, man, where it's like, I don't know. Like, is your health and conditioning not good? Do you need to do some fixes there? I mean, some obviously you can't prevent all of these things with just good conditioning, but I don't know. Whenever it's like a large scale team thing where everybody just gets hurt, it does kind of it makes one want to ask the question at least. I'm not sure if it's necessarily accurate, but it is what it is. But as far as the Pacers go, this is a team that I can root for. I mean, this is a team that was down bad just a few years ago. Obviously, they've been in the lottery the past few seasons. They trade to get Halliburton. They get rid of Sabonis. And now they're rocking Pascal. They got Matherin, I believe, is on. I believe Benedict Matherin. He's on the Pacers. You got Tyrese Halliburton. As Matherin played, I just realized I was like, I don't remember them talking that much about Benedict Matherin. I'm certain he's played. Now I'm like, no, I'm losing my mind. Or is he? Let me see. ESPN. I'm pretty sure. I guess I just haven't heard his name called. Let's see. Game log. Yeah, no, I guess he didn't play. Or wait, no, I'm stupid. No, yeah, wait, this is regular season. Where's the postseason? Okay, yeah, he played, right? No, maybe he hasn't. Oh yeah, he's OFS. He's not been playing. So I don't know what OFS stands for. Does that mean hurt? Whatever. He's not playing. Yeah. Okay. Season-ending surgery. Okay. So whatever. He's not on the team. Disregard everything I just said about Benedict Matherin. He doesn't play. But if he did play, he'd be okay. Probably. I mean, like when he was playing, he was shooting 44% from the field, 14 points. Like that's at least a positive sign for the future there. For the team in general. But outside of him, I mean, you still got, McConnell. You still got Neesmith. Obviously, we already mentioned Siakam, Shibwe, Oscar Shibwe, Kentucky. Hey, look at that. Miles Turner. Like they got Obi Toppin. They got pieces. They got pieces, and this is a young team, and they're, I would say, probably overperforming. But I will say this, okay? And this isn't, a one size fits all theory about, series and playoffs, all that. Boston has handled both of their opponents. They really haven't had much of a challenge. Meanwhile, the Pacers have played 2 series that went at least 6 games against initially against the Bucks, who, to be fair, were dealing with injuries. The Knicks also dealing with injuries. But the Celtics have been resting here. It feels like it's been an eternity since the Celtics have played. The Pacers, on the other hand, are high on life, right? Like they are ready to go. They're red hot. And I wouldn't be shocked if they come out and they shock the world tonight and they win game 1. I really wouldn't. But you could go either way with it, because on the other side of it, well, Boston's going to be ready. They're rested. They're healed up of any little injuries that might be coming their way, and they could come in and they could just stomp Indiana, because they've been stomping everybody else, and I don't see necessarily why they would just stop that. But I think we're gonna have a really good Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll get into the Western Conference Finals in just a second here. But certainly in the East, I think it's going to be an all-time classic. I'm rooting for the Pacers personally, but I really wouldn't be all that upset if the Celtics ended up winning, because that's another really likable team. I want to get to the Western Conference Finals as well, and the Western Conference in general. So first things first, OKC gets knocked out in 6 against the Mavs. Look, no shame in losing for OKC. This is one of the most well-run organizations in the NBA. They've got the capital. They got a lottery pick that they're going to take this year. You swept the Pelicans in the first round, and you damn near came you were 2 wins away from Western Conference Finals, while still having all the draft capital and all the young talent on the team. I mean, you got Gilgeous-Alexander, you got Chet, you have pieces. You have your front two guys in Chet and Shy. Those are your number one and number two respectively. Those are your stars, if you want to call it that. And I think they're only going to get better, right? They're only going to get more experience. They're only going to, I mean, Chet was an all rookie. He did this in his rookie year. He was playing at a high level. And I got to give the man respect because I was not all that high on him coming out of Gonzaga. No disrespect, but I was not expecting him to be that big of an impact. But hey, when you're that long, I guess you're able to figure it out. And the fact that the Mavericks do end up doing this, do end up winning, getting to the Western Conference Finals, I don't know. It was something about this team. It was like, I don't know if anybody even noticed the Mavericks for a while. I mean, PJ Washington's playing out of his mind. Obviously, you got Luka and Kyrie, but the Mavericks might be a sneaky team out of these Final Four. I just don't know that there's much talk about them because Boston, best team in the league by record, best regular season record in NBA, right? Pacers, young upcoming team. Wolves, Anthony Edwards show. Uh, but the Mavs, like Luka Doncic, is like he took that that snubbed MVP personally, apparently. And I will say, I mean, like, I'm not necessarily going to be rooting for them in the Western Conference Finals, but again, similar to the Eastern, it's like I'm not going to be upset if they win because Luka Doncic is fun as hell to watch, and PJ Washington, it's like they go and they make a midseason trade to get PJ Washington, and he's been an incredible contributor for them this whole playoffs for sure. On the other side of it, you have the Wolves knocking out the Timberwolves in 7. This was one of the best game sevens I've ever watched, and I know that it's not necessarily uh you know there's been a lot of great game sevens, and maybe in terms of like people might look at finals game sevens, obviously the 2016 game 7, uh plenty of other all-time classic game sevens in the NBA. I don't know if this one's going to necessarily be one of them, but what I will say is if you're a Nuggets fan, I I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you had to go through what happened there because man, oh man, was that rough. So a little bit of context here. I'm reading a book, right? I'm sitting right at that chair there, reading a book, got the game on, kind of, glancing back because I was like, it's a little bit of a blowout. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm looking away from my book every so often, and I'm seeing, wow, it's like a 6-point game now, and then oh, it's a 2-point game, and oh my gosh, the Wolves are winning. Like, huh? Like, How could this happen? How did you allow this to happen? But look, this Wolves team. I don't know. They feel like the or the Western Conference version of the Pacers. Like Anthony Edwards, he didn't even have an amazing game, but still showed out in the moments that mattered most. Karl Anthony Towns had I mean that putback dunk on the rebound. That was insane. Rudy Gobert had that crazy fadeaway jumper over for Jokic there. It was something. And I think ultimately all that this is indicative of to me is the NBA is, and I want to use my words carefully, but I also want to make kind of an extreme point. So bear with me. The NBA is becoming good again. Like, it's not just the Golden State LeBron show, right? It's not just, hey, let's watch which super team fight this other super team. No, I mean, you look at the Final Four. The Final Four are basically, for the most part, not necessarily entirely, but they're all kind of homegrown teams. I mean, obviously, Dallas, you have Kyrie, PJ Washington. Those guys are not homegrown. But Luka is their star. Luka is the leader of that team. He's homegrown. The Wolves are completely indicative of that. Karl Anthony Towns, Naz Reid, Anthony Edwards. I mean, I love that team. That like, if I really were to pick a team to root for, I'm in it for the Timberwolves. That team is fantastic. It's everything that I wish the Pistons were. Essentially, is just homegrown, like not local guys, but you know what? Guys that you drafted, you developed, being contributors. Obviously, you make a big move. You get Gobert out of Utah. People made fun of it. I said, you know what? I appreciate that the Wolves are trying something, and it has paid off in spades for them. Obviously, Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, one of, if not the best defensive player in the NBA right now. Obviously, he wins Defensive Player of the Year. That's sort of how where that goes. And then you look at even the Celtics, which is a big market team, but usually I don't like the big market. I like the Celtics team. You got Porzingis, you got Jason Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown. Like it's like kind of a fun team. Like I don't know how else to say it. And then with the Pacers, I mean, again, that's another one. I mean, obviously you trade for Halliburton, so you didn't draft the guy, but you did. He's essentially just a pacer, right? Like he's only going to really be known as a pacer, depending on how his career goes from here. But then you go out and you get Siakam as well. That's another trade. You still have some of the other guys that are in your roster that you've just drafted, and just like a team that has been built with a purpose, right? Like you're it's not just let's go find this superstar, let's go get Kevin Durant, let's go get James Harden, let's go get LeBron James. No, it's like it feels real. I guess it just feels more like these teams sort of embody the individual, like they're not just like big markets or just big selling point. It's like they feel like they are embodiments of the region in which they play in a way. And I know that maybe that doesn't totally make sense. I don't know. I can't really rationalize. It just feels that way. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it. Wednesday night, tomorrow night, Western Conference game 1. Tonight, you have Eastern Conference game 1. I'm really looking forward to these conference finals. I love it. This has been probably one of the best NBA playoffs in a very long time for me. That's for sure. Hey there, what you just watched was actually a clip from a larger show that we do every Tuesday night. What are you doing Tuesday night? Go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button so that you don't miss out on any more of our weekly shows every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.